Hey there, cruising the land here, and behind me I have a 1997 Toyota Land Cruiser Collector's Edition, below 200,000 miles. This thing is a gem. I don't own it. This is actually a friend of mine, a Yoda master that I work with and trust with all my Land Cruisers. This is his, and it is for sale. So let's turn this camera and get a full walk around. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the 360 of this last of the 80 series 1997 collector's edition. So it has all the basics that you want in an 80, which is front bumper, rear bumper, Old Man Emu lift, shocks, coils actually from a different company because they're red. I don't think that's Old Man Emu, but still the same, a 2.5-inch lift, and 33s. It's all the components you want. There's a winch up front as well. This is a center locked Land Cruiser 97. It's got the moldings down the side, and that rear bumper is a la 4x4 style. So it's right up onto the cross member, and well, it becomes the new cross member actually. And so clean and sweet with a really great departure angle on that if you happen to be overlanding. So nice. And the rear tire carrier, I like how the tire's on an angle. There's our good old collector's edition badging. And you can see the angle that the tire's on. So it's not straight up and down. It kind of, form factors to the angle of the back hatch. So that looks great. Let's continue going around. There's the other collector's edition badge. One thing that's interesting on the collector edition in 97 or the late 97s, the Toyota badge is in the middle, not on the side above the four-wheel drive badge. They put them in the middle just in that last year. So it's another way when you see a 97 to know that it's a 97. Has the airbags, has the updated dash, has the OBD2 in the 95 through 97s. But look at that stance. That thing is so sweet. But just the front bumper and the rear bumper alone, that's expensive. Front bumper is the AOE, and I love this bumper because it's a little higher, so you get a great approach angle. Look at that. Big time great approach angle. And sporting underneath the 2.5-inch lift. Super clean. Look at that. That's California, right, for you. California, born and raised. Land Cruiser means no salted roads. Nice temperature year round. It's not like, Arizona or some of the Southeast that's just dry heat that can affect your gaskets, your rubber, moldings and what have you. California is just where you want to maintain cars. That's why in the California desert, they have all those planes and Volkswagens that went against the EPA ruling for their diesels. Tons of them just sitting out there because they are preserved. So what better than a Land Cruiser coming from California, right? Right down to the all the rubber fender gaskets, all brand new. So those were all replaced. The fenders were redone because that's the one thing about this white paint. Let's back up. I can tell you about that. Back in the 90s, the red pearl, the green emerald, the night shadow, all those colors had clear coat. And the clear coat, unfortunately, no matter where you were in the country, took a beating from the sun, and it did peel. And sometimes I've talked to people like, no, my truck was fine until one summer it just it accelerated. Within a month, boom, the clear coat was just peeling off the hood and the roof and the fender flares. Fender flares make sense because it's plastic. It's a different material than the metal of the vehicle itself. But the white does not have clear coat on it. So let's say that again. It's not paint and clear coat like all the other colors. Toyota white, the 045 white, also on 100 series and 200 series in the early years of the 200 up to 2016, is single stage. That's one coat process. That means there's no paint and then clear. It's mixed together as a single stage. What does that mean? It means it can oxidize a little easier than a clear coat car, of course, but it never peels and you can compound it, you can detail it and bring it back like new over and over and over again. That's why this white Land Cruiser looks so freaking white. It's so nice. So detailing a white Land Cruiser is always a dream. I've had some where they're oxidized and the person probably thinks they need to go to Mako for a new paint job, and it's like, no, you just need a full weekend and good orbital and some compound and polish. So this one looks great. Fenders redone, new gaskets, looking great. Let's take a look underneath and then we'll talk about this rear bumper a bit again. So super clean axle, everything's super. Drives great too. So I drove it a bit before bringing it here to see if it passes my criteria of what a Land Cruiser should drive like. Drives fantastic. And I think the only thing left to be done on this vehicle post this video, but before ownership, is some brake pads in the front. Heavy truck, the brake pads in the front always wear way faster than the rear. All right, so center locked. These things, I mean, the flex that they have is phenomenal when you're on the trail, you know, on moguls or whatever. But if you ever get stuck, which is a rarity, you have this, a winch to pull you out of any situation. But pretty much this winch is to help your friends, because this is a Land Cruiser, let's face it. You're gonna help your buddies with IFS suspensions, 100, 200 series, or you know, other vehicles. You're gonna help them get out of messes with your winch. So that's why you'll mostly be using that. But the clearance, as you can see, is huge. Already a stock Land Cruiser has great clearance, but when you're talking, when it's got the 2.5-inch lift, huge amount of clearance. All right, let's jump inside and see the story on the interior. And that story is clean as can be. I know the video, it doesn't give you all senses. You can't smell right now, but this smells like leather. It's amazing. It's in great condition, because usually Land Cruisers, I call it crocodile leather, they cracked. Lexus LX 450s, the leather was different and it survived, you know, the next 25 years a lot better than Land Cruiser leather. But if you look, this, I mean, apart from obviously it's got leather wrinkling, but it's not cracking where it splits. This is still in great shape and can be maintained that way. Just put on some good Lexol, or there's some good leather conditioners out there, and keep it clean. I like how these are still taut and not sagging. The map nets, so that looks great. Look at the door card, looking super. All electric works on this. And this is what I mean, like all these rubber, everything is just in great shape because it lives in California. One feature a lot of Land Cruisers don't have is the nice molding. So not sure if that was a collector edition thing, but I like that. I know you can buy aftermarket and put these on and they look great. Okay, jumping in the front. So the seats, beautiful. Look at that condition. They are phenomenal. These usually get really worn because someone's elbow and leaning on it all the time. This, I can tell, is a replaced piece. That's why it's super clean and brand new. But the seats are not. These are original. These are in great shape, phenomenal shape. Usually the leather on these wears, so you have a little wear right there, and a lot of people don't realize you can take this leather cover off, and underneath it's like this heavy duty rubber that feels good on the hand, that looks clean. I've had that on some Land Cruisers where this was just done, or you can buy a replacement leather, but this one is still in great shape. I would leave it, because when you're driving you're not going to see this side of it that's starting to wear, and just put some conditioner on that. But this is super clean. Actually, it's better. Let me jump into the back here so you can see the dash. All right. So, original deck, and it sounds good. Tape, radio, everything. I like that you don't have that fake wood kit that Toyota put in some of these to make it look fancy, I'm like, no, get that stuff out, because it all split apart and looked terrible anyway. So this is so clean. And the steering wheel is another telltale of, you know, has this big garage? What happened with this car? Was it sitting in the sun all the time? Look at the steering wheel. Steering wheel feels great and looks great. It's supple, it's perfect. And then dashes a lot of the time get cracked on Land Cruisers if they sat in the sun. And look at this dash up top, in perfect shape. Sunroof works, opens, closes. It was an issue on the early years of the 80 series. They had problems, water coming in. They resolved that by 1997, that's for sure. So that works. The power antenna works to power that original stereo system. Hey, if you're my age, chances are you got some good tapes and mixes you did when you're younger. So time to break it out, pop it in right there, and listen to your tunes, your playlist, old school, right? So everything super clean in this vehicle. You know, cracked dashes you can replace or get repaired, but that costs money, you know. So that's definitely a great value. That this interior is so clean, such a pleasure to sit in, and like I said, it smells fantastic. All right, what more to be said about this cruiser? Again, the updated dash for 95 and up, airbags, so it's got the SRS airbags. And don't worry, when you're off-roading, the airbags don't go off. You actually have to make an impact to something substantial for the airbags to actually deploy. Some people are concerned in newer Land Cruisers, I think it's the 100 and definitely the 200, you have a button you can hit, the RCSA, so that the curtain airbags don't deploy. It's got the third row seats in it. We'll pop that in a second. Let me actually pop the hood for the engine. And that's kind of another key thing. A lot of people when they're shopping for Land Cruisers, and you know, it's a 25 coming on 30-year-old car, depending on what year you're looking at, you need to baseline. There's always going to be a little bit of work to be done. But as you know, these engines go 500,000 miles, and look how clean this is. Why is it that clean? Because this belongs to a Toyota shop. They work on Land Cruisers, 40s, 60s, 70s, 80s, lots of 80s, 100s. So of course, this is the area that a mechanic shop is going to always want to be perfect. And this engine is definitely that. It is in fantastic shape. This cruiser's ready to go cross country and back, dialed in. Look how clean that is. Even the liner, everything. Super nice. No leaks. So it's basically, you know, when you get a certified car, you know, they only certify cars that are like 3-4 years old coming off a lease. This one, that engine is great. And we'll take her for a spin. Before we do that, let's take a look at the back. And let's see if I can do this one-handed. I can. The gas struts are working great on that. Not sure if you can hear that. So that means it holds them open. Like I said, the badging, that usually is over there on, you know, 90, 93, well, 91, all the way up to 96, 97. It's something that they did there. Put it in the middle. And the rear, we have one seat down, sun protector here, carpet, everything in great shape. A lot of people take these third row seats out because that gives you a lot more room. Then you can put drawers in there from Rugged Bound. Talk to me if you want Rugged Bound. I work with them. Rugged Bound roof rack on this would look amazing as well. So yeah, and then the gas struts just closes like that, holds in place. Okay, so see that? I could do that one-handed. So if the wife happens to take this as a grocery getter, she definitely can. Maybe this part I can't do one-handed. I'll do that in a second. before I take it for a spin. All right, let me pause. We'll jump in and we'll give it a startup. There we go. That was actually easy. I needed to push the whole second swing arm all the way in. All right, so do I have the key? Yes, I do. All right. I'll do my best to stay out of the sun and away from any police driving around seeing me filming while driving. So I'm just gonna stay on some side streets. So there's that good old radio. You know, 80 series AC always blows so cold, always so nice. But I'll turn it off so that we can hear more of the engine and kick down. Okay. It's so nice, you know, sitting a little higher in a Land Cruiser. It just looks so good and feel so good when you're driving it with that lift. And you know, yeah, you can do a 5-6 inch lift. I think they start to look a little goofy unless you're cutting wheel wells and putting like much larger tires on. But 33s to me is the sweet spot, where you get good gearing, good responsiveness, you know, driving in the mountains, all of that. Oh yeah. She drives good. You know it's a Masterman Mechanics car when you drive it. It's just so tight. Oh yeah, it's got power too. Okay, I just wanted to give you that little bit. I've already, and you know, look at these bumps. I'm coming up over, you know, where a Tesla or a car is gonna slow down to take that bump. In a Land Cruiser, you just hit it. No problem, because the suspension is in such good shape. I can tell that the bushings, when this got lifted, new bushings, because that makes a huge difference on a Land Cruiser. You know, if anybody watching this already has a Land Cruiser, and you're obviously like me, you'll watch everything Land Cruiser on YouTube. If you have like rough suspension in the front, look at your bushings in your lower control arms. Change those and you change your ride, because those do wear out over time. So that's a simple thing that a lot of people don't know, but I can tell that these bushings are perfect. So great vehicle. Let's get it parked in the shade. We'll do one last walk around and I will go over what the asking price is on this gem. So let me just find our spot. Again, apologies for my filming. I am trying to drive and film at the same time. Let me just get a nice spot in the shade here. I think I found my spot. All right. Now, as you all know, the 2024 Land Cruiser is just coming out. So I look at it like the Bronco. And let's just jump out of the car. Look at that. The D button works. Usually this burns out. I just wanted to see that. So the D does work on this 97. That's cool. Okay. So the 94 is coming out. And just like the Bronco, you know, older Broncos were already pricey. They went up even more because the new Bronco brought more attention to the original that it was based off of. So the 2024 is a hybrid 4-banger. It doesn't have the split gate in the back. I think a lot of people are going to value just how amazing these are. Oh, and you know, they're not solid axle like an 80 series. 80 series, you know, you got the solid axles. So all of that, I think, will make these trucks hold value. And right now, some people might look at pricing of some clean 80s and say like, wow, that's a lot. You know what? Watch. They're gonna hold value and they're gonna go up. So if you can get one now that's clean, not rusted, and that means you kind of have to look at the California market like this one. But this one is the ask is $35,900. Now you can bring that down by $1,000 if you remove that front bumper and put an original bumper. So because they do have an original bumper at the shop, well, the owner does, of this vehicle, and can put that on, and you'll knock down $1,000 for the front bumper and the winch. But let's take a look at that front bumper again. I don't think that's worth it. I think this is priced very reasonably for what it is, because again, it's a collector edition. It's all dialed in. You know, can you go find a $25,000 Land Cruiser? Sure. Are you going to put about $8,000 of repairs into it? Yup, you bet you will. Over time, over the first year of baselining it, this is all done. All those repairs, you saw that engine bay. I mean, I've driven it. Once you drive this, you'll know that this is a baseline, clean, like certified Land Cruiser. The rear bumper, that is a value. If you shop for a bumper, that's a huge value. Someone hits you from behind, again, they're gonna take on all the damage. This bumper is attached to your frame. So steel against plastic, you know who wins. So this bumper itself is great. And you know, usually those are, like this one I'd say is about a $4,000 add-on to a vehicle like this. So at that price, I think it's totally reasonable. If this was on Bring a Trailer, not only would it go higher than that, but you'd be paying 5% on top of that to Bring a Trailer for having the privilege of purchasing this vehicle on their platform. All right, so that does it. If you are interested, hit me up. I will put you in touch with them. It's a busy shop. They everybody sends their Land Cruisers to this shop in Southern California. So I will put you in touch if you're a serious buyer. So only serious inquiries for this cruiser, and yeah, whoever gets this will be one happy camper. And you know what, if you discover a year or two later that, you know what, an 80 series isn't for me, first of all, check your mental state, and secondly, you can sell it and get all your money back or more, because you know it's far and few between now that you can get a super clean specimen like this. All right, that's it. So happy trails. Look forward to see who gets this. Maybe I'll do an update video. And yeah, happy trails, enjoy, and hit me up if you are interested.